We should just do this episode with like one hand tied behind my back because we're in a rental, and even though I tried to bring every single thing I could think of from my kitchen, I still have to make Kinder Bueno with like an omelet special from IKEA. So this one's gonna be fun. Today I am going to be making Kinder Bueno. I'm so excited. Why does every rental have one of these? The like teeniest, tiniest, most dull grater. A box cutter? That actually could be handy. Oh my gosh, thank God. I had like a lobster cracker, nut cracker.
You have to break down some hazelnuts.
I'm not cracking raw hazelnuts. I'm not on my home turf today. I'm a little nervous about it. I'm sure I forgot like a ton of stuff that I need, but we're gonna see if I can recreate these today. And also weirdly, we chose a hard one.
Did you bring paper?
I brought paper. I brought blank computer paper. I probably didn't bring like something really important that I need, but I brought blank computer paper.
What about chocolate?
I brought chocolate. We're fine. I had never had a Kinder Bueno until Vince was like, let's do Kinder Bueno. But I had other Kinder products. Kinder made by Ferrero, an Italian company that makes Nutella. So it's not like I'm not familiar with these products. I actually feel very confident about each of the components. The like 95% of the challenge in Kinder Bueno is going to be, can I get it into a shape that looks like a Kinder Bueno? And it's like a 3-dimensionally filled wafer, which that's gonna be hard. So we'll see. So these packs have 2 bars, a la Twix.
How do you know that?
This is, I've eaten a few of these so far. I ate one last night as research. I would like to start today's Claire Creates with the very modest goal of making one of these. It has these 4 cells, obviously a milk chocolate, and then it has this kind of zigzag dark chocolate drizzle. I already know that I'm not doing that. I'll do the drizzle, but I'm not doing milk and dark, I'm doing all dark because these are so sweet, it kind of makes your teeth hurt. Just taking some liberties with this episode under the circumstances. And we need to do this all today. I gotta get home. And you can see in the cross section that there's 2 pieces of wafer that are like sandwiched together and then covered in chocolate. Now, what's even more challenging about this is that it's not like one side of the wafer is 3-dimensional and the other side is flat. They're both 3-dimensional. So this is very tricky. The filling inside, this kind of pale golden brown filling, that's the hazelnut filling. I'm gonna measure the entire bar. So each cell is about 1 inch long, plus there's like the connector piece. So it's just under 4.5 inches long. It's like 4 3/8. And then the width is about 1 inch. Let's taste it. I haven't really had breakfast. Oh my God. The texture is amazing. The wafer. So light and crispy, love it. Delicious. The filling, when it hits my teeth, like it tingles. Literally makes my teeth hurt. Which is very, very sweet. And the milk chocolate doesn't help that at all. I mean, it's kind of delicious, but the filling and the milk chocolate take it over the edge for me. And not in the way I want. But the wafer is just incredible. So crispy. The filling is very, very smooth. There's a lightness to it in terms of the texture, like it's kind of whipped. They're really good, but like, it's just a lot. It's gonna be very hard to approximate that shape.
Unless you cut your own molds.
Unless I cut my own molds, and I can't cut my own molds. I need a 3D printer. We should get a 3D printer for this show. I don't know how to use one. All right, my game plan is to use molds that I bought. Now, unfortunately, these are smaller than the original Kinder. And the sort of cells, instead of being lined up like short on the short end, they're lined up like by the longer end. So right off the bat, like I measured it, but mine are not going to, if I'm gonna use these molds, mine are not going to look like
right off the bat,
the original.
I failed.
No, I'm just gonna make it look different. This is a plastic mold that's made for chocolate bars. I am going to have to, I think, bake the wafer in a mold, and I can't bake in this plastic. So I have a plan. Cal's so skeptical. I'm gonna make a mold for my mold using aluminum foil. Let's check out the ingredients. Ingredients: milk chocolate, parentheses, sugar, cocoa butter, cocoa mass, skim milk powder, butter oil. What is butter oil? Lecithin as emulsifier, vanillin, an artificial flavor, so fake vanilla. Close parentheses, sugar, palm oil, wheat flour, hazelnuts, skim milk powder, semi-sweet chocolate, and then parentheses, sugar, cocoa mass, cocoa butter, lecithin as emulsifier, vanillin, an artificial flavor, cocoa, lecithin as emulsifier, sodium bicarbonate as leavening agent, salt, vanillin, an artificial flavor. Butter oil is the product obtained from sweet cream or from butter where the fat content is increased to nearly 100% by the almost total removal of water and solids, non-fat, using one or more physical separation processes. It's basically dairy fat with no water or other solids in it. So it's like a pure butter fat, which basically is ghee. All right. I was thinking it was something way worse than that. That's not so bad.
Did you bring ghee with you?
No, but I brought butter. Hold on. Harris is texting me bottle directions. What does that mean?
I'm gonna cut.
I think the wafer is going to take me the longest, so that's going to be step number 1. Number 2 will be the hazelnut filling, and then 3 is chocolate coating. So among the things I remembered to bring today, some aluminum foil. I'm going to start by making molds of my molds by pressing aluminum foil, like thick layers of it, into the plastic molds.
What's your plan B? Maybe just press it over a Kinder Bueno bar.
No, that's not going to work. Maybe what I need to be doing is this side. Now, I'm not worried about this being particularly smooth because the chocolate enrobing will like fill in any wrinkles or like gaps or anything like that. So I just need it to be the basic shape. Pressing really firmly and carefully onto each facet of the mold and really trying to like very, very tightly just mold it so that it keeps the shape. Removing the aluminum foil. I have some holes in it. One thing that I don't love is that I'm definitely not getting the like height of the original. So now I'm gonna just try to lay a strip on the inside of the molds, and then maybe I can put that strip in here. You know, when I think about the process in my head when I'm like at home, like sitting on the couch trying to just plan it out, it definitely seems smoother than in practice. I could bake on top of that, and I think that it would work better than what I have here. But
You couldn't do that on the actual candy?
you want me to make a mold of the actual candy?
That's what I would call recreating.
Okay, it is actually kind of working. It didn't not work. Oh no, I just punched through, but that's okay. I can always just like repair it with an additional piece of foil. I can't. This could work. There's just definitely going to be a loss of definition no matter what. Or do I just try to bake it in here?
Yikes.
No. I wish these molds were better and made of metal or silicone. I want to see what happens when I microwave this. I think the whole thing might soften. It's not necessarily a problem. Oh my gosh. This is, oh my gosh. I'm gonna put on medium power. The power button doesn't work. Oh well. It's really just starting to melt on the bottom. I don't know if in the factory it's like baked in a sheet and then stamped into this shape. I have no idea. I've just like excavated it. Taking away the chocolate. I could use the bottom as a mold also. Do you guys have a Sharpie? You do, right? I need a piece of paper. I'm trying to use my brain to see if I can just like figure out like spatial rotation kind of thing, what shape it needs to be. I'm sorry, but I cannot explain what I am doing. I can't, I'm sorry. I have to just do it.
Cal, would you get that tattooed on you?
No, it looks like some sort of a cult.
I need to make this circular piece much more oval and much wider. Who chose this shape? They were not considering us at home. I think I've made this one a little bit big, but that could be really good as far as accounting for shrinkage. Aha. Even if it's not perfect, I think this is good enough. See how everything's like meeting where it's supposed to? I have to move on. I don't even totally have proof of concept of like this whole idea. So I want to move on to the wafer batter. And that's pretty simple and easy to put together. So I'm going to pull out my ingredients for that. And it's based on a previous wafer that I've done that turned out pretty well. I need toothpicks. Are there toothpicks? We're allowed to use these, right? This packet's open, so yes. Anchors during baking, although I gotta snap off. So that's gonna hold the wafer in place during baking. Not bad, right? Not bad. I'm hoping that mine is very light. So I'm using cake flour. Very light, crisp, tender. Has that nice snap, I hope. We'll see. Sugar. I have butter here. I need 4 ounces. That's 3. I just need to melt this, and I want it melted and then cooled. 2 egg whites. I also need a little bit of water. This is gonna help bring it together. I'm gonna grab my butter. So I have my dry ingredients here. So in goes the butter. I did like that tiny spatula that they had. What if everything in here became like my new favorite piece of kitchen equipment? Now I'm obsessed with this spatula. I'm gonna add my egg whites and a couple tablespoons of water. I don't know how much I'm gonna need. I just need it to get to the consistency that I want, which is like a kind of pancake batter. Not thin, but not too thick. More water. Oh, I'm gonna add some vanilla to it. Real vanilla extract at least. I do think I need a little bit more water to thin it out. I think this consistency looks good. I'm turning on my cooktop. I'm gonna do a batter test. I have a 2-part cooking process for the wafer. I'm gonna cook it stovetop first.
I think it's just tripped. Camera cuts.
The power went out. And it's back. My batter has really set up. The butter got cold again. So I was planning to kind of like pour it into the pan. I might have to sort of like dollop it into the pan. But I'm gonna start cooking it. So I have a 2-step cooking process for the wafer. It's to cook it stovetop. I want it to immediately get hot so it starts to puff with that baking powder in there and I get that like light crispy texture. And then, but before it becomes browned and dry enough and set, I'm going to take it out of the pan, put it onto a cutting board and cut out my stencil. Then it's gonna go onto my mold, which is just the Kinder Bueno, and into the oven. So I'm gonna actually preheat the oven. I still want the oven temp low because I don't wanna put a lot of color on the wafer. I just want it to dehydrate. So I preheat that to 250. So I have here a made-in grill press. I'll heat it on this pan and then put the batter down and go from the top to cook the wafer that way on both sides. I have it on like the lower end of medium right now. I need a certain length of batter, which is just about like the press end to end on the diagonal. I'm gonna pipe this batter because it's now set up. I have a big piece. I'm not really sure about the thickness. I'm kind of just relying on the weight of the press to help me. Obviously, I also put too much batter on. You know what? I didn't grease the press. I don't think that really worked. I didn't grease anything. I should have greased it. I don't know why I didn't think about that. I needed butter down.
Isn't it all butter anyway?
There's butter in there, but there's also starch. All right, well, that didn't really work.
It would look like a Kinder Bueno.
It's too thick. Oh, really, Vince? It doesn't look like a Kinder Bueno? I'll call that the first pancake, you know? So this part got a little crisp. I'm happy with the batter. I think the batter is fine. I have to just refine this cooking technique. So I'm gonna actually just form another rope of dough. This piping thing was kind of pointless because I cut the hole very large. And greasing the press at the same time. I think I need everything hotter. I think it's a little thick, personally. I'm gonna keep going with this one, but just to see about the doneness of the wafer. I think the thinner it is, I'll actually have better flexibility. This is one of those things where I'm just continuing, even though I know it's a huge disaster. I'm gonna try cooking it hotter and thinner. I might also just try adding water to this batter because this is really like so thick. If there's more moisture in it, then even if it's set, it'll still be more flexible. That's my hope. All right, I'm gonna put a little more butter down and then there's still some in the pan. This is higher, I'm on medium heat now. I'm just not pressing evenly. I think that's part of the problem. Ow, it's sticking. Ow, it's hot. You know, a waffle iron really would be way easier. This is actually better than before. Much thinner, much more even. I don't have my spray bottle anymore, but if I could even just like rehydrate it a little bit, it's still just a little bit brittle. What if I cut out individual pieces and glued them together with egg white? Oh, you know what the glue would be? This batter. I would paint this batter into the seams and then bake it. New plan, everyone. This could work, even though I said that about the last one. I'm gonna work in smaller batches. I'm gonna press this pretty thin. They're maximally flexible when they're soft still. It's like, what part of this is still soft enough to be able to cut anything out? Not much. I don't really want to do this anymore. You know what this means? I'm bringing in the stool. I really wish I could bake in this. I'm sure I can. I'm sure that this would melt. It's 100% polycarbonate. Use range, what is 130 Celsius?
266. So right now you could put it in there.
I could bake it at 2.
And it's not gonna melt.
And it shouldn't melt. And if it does melt, we pull it out really quick and turn the fan on.
Here's really what the challenge is. Polycarbonate is not going to heat up the way metal is going to. So I think it's going to be really hard to get it to cook in this. It'll cook from the top. Let's see what I can make happen. This is literally the first thing I did this morning. We're back here like 5 hours later. I should have stuck to my idea. Okay. Now I'm thinking maybe I don't need the plastic. It's not actually a pretty good mold.
You kind of made the exact bottom of a Kinder Bueno.
That's the bottom.
Oh, that could be a good bottom mold. This is the bottom. This is good. This is good. Okay. So let me just make the top. There's no like Pam in there or like spray, is there?
No.
And that's okay. I'll use a brush. Let's just try it. What do I have to lose?
Can we lose this?
Yeah, we can lose that whole thing. Thank you. So I'm oiling the interior. I placed my little inner strip inside the mold. And now I just want to paint a little bit of batter along the like very top outer rim to like set there. Look, maybe I should take this out and not bake it in the thing. Might as well have the bottom done too. I don't think this is gonna work as the base though, because I think it's too wide. I think we need to talk, I think we need to talk, what?
What do you want to talk about?
Plan Bs and C. What if I just run down the clock?
Plan B, wasn't that what I asked about like about 2
Like,
minutes into filming? What's your plan B?
Let's check on these. Well, this one had a leak at the bottom. I'm having some sticking issues here. I forgot to oil this. It's not that bad. I have a little gap to fill in where the mold stuck. The problem is it doesn't really have sides. One of many problems.
Being hard on yourself.
You think it looks good?
Yeah.
I'm gonna see if I can get it out of the bottom layer of the mold. Ah. There's some holes in it. It needs to actually bake longer because there's still moisture in it. Because I had that top piece that was preventing moisture loss, it's not really like crisp. The bottom part doesn't have any hollows though. One issue. Did I just make a hollow wafer? 3D hollow wafer? It did kind of work, except for it's in several pieces. Here's what I think I learned from this last test. There is a basic proof of concept here, which is to use a two-sided mold, but I think it has to be made of a conducting material, like metal. And the aluminum foil is too flimsy. So I'm not giving up on Kinder Bueno. I really do want to try to create this kind of two-sided, three-dimensional wafer. Not worried about the other parts. But I need to regroup and come up with a plan for like a proper like baking mold system out of metal. So come back for part 2. Will I or won't I? Will she do it? I don't know.
You can definitely do this.
Thanks, Cal. I just need to get some like sheet metal and some cutters and some pliers, and I think I could make a mold for myself. Anyone have like a soldering iron?